What's going on, guys? It is Aidan Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew? This is Ball Hawk Ifeatu Melifonwu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
All right, let's try that again. All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host, once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it is Lions Talk Live. It is President's Day. It is a Monday, and we got a bit of a topic, as you probably tell from the thumbnail for today's video. Hey, a former NFL executive is urging the Detroit Lions not to re-sign Aidan Hutchinson, Jameson Williams. We'll dive into that during the main topic of the day, but before we do, as you guys know, We'll analyze that. We'll go into the 5 headlines now. We'll get into all that stuff. What do you guys think? Is there really any chance the Detroit Lions don't re-sign both of these guys? In my personal opinion, I think there's not a chance in heck that neither one of these guys are not here long-term. I think they're both impact players, both guys that make changes to whatever you want to say on the offense and defense. You know what? They are those dudes. They are rare dudes to find. But again, we'll dive into that during the main topic of the day. All right, real quick before we get the show rolling and a rocking and a going, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march for 13,200 subs, and we are, we'll say, roughly 31 subs away. So if you can help out with that, that would be great. Also, if you have a half second of time, it is free of charge. Reach on down, hit that thumbs up button, that like button, hit the copy button, hit all the buttons while you're at it. Go ahead and help the channel on out. As you guys know, we try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but never least, maybe you got a big weekend coming up. Maybe you're just someone who likes to vicariously read, historical fiction. Whatever it is, go ahead and check out wherever you find good reading literature, maybe Amazon.com or wherever. Kajora book. It is the first of a 9-part series. It does have to deal with Native American, Japanese cultures, mythology, religion, etc. It has historical events, but fictional characters. So whenever you get a free moment, you want to check it on out. And if you like the read, go ahead and leave a kind review. All right, let's get into the first segment of the show. Get it going, get it rocking, get it rolling, and let's head over to 5 headlines now. All right, hope everybody had a good weekend. We are in for a few headlines, and let's also be honest. Every week we get a little bit closer to free agency. Every week that goes by into this new NFL season, you're going to see more and more players cut, moved on from, sent packing, whatever you want to say. You're going to see it happen, and you know what? That's going to lead to some interesting conversations for all of us. All right, 5 glorious headlines now. Lions need to pounce on veteran cornerback who was just released. Fan side story by Devin Plantian. So, hey, well, we all get it. The Lions are going to have some guys that are going to hit the waiver wire, or I shouldn't say waiver wire, but free agency. Are the Lions going to be able to resign all their own? We've been talking about it for over a week now about Carlton Davis III. I get it. The guy is in demand, and the Lions do have several players that are free agents that are listed within the NFL.com 100 top free agents available. That means somebody's going to come out and try to pay them. Somebody's going to try out and get them to come over to their team. With all that said and done, you think about adding some cornerback depth. I wouldn't be mad. What are your thoughts about adding this guy? And that guy would be Kendall Fuller. He was released by the Dolphins, and I think most of us know he's a little bit older. He's not, like in a walk or anything like that, but he's not the youngest player he once was. He does have some good ability. He would fit a lot of the scheme systems the Lions like to use. Earlier this week, the Miami Dolphins announced the release of multiple players, including Kendall Fuller, the cornerback who's played, it seems like, for everybody. He was a former 2016 third-rounder, joined the Dolphins on a 2-year, $15 million contract last year, and was released. After a long career with the Commanders, in 2023, Fuller took a step back amid a number of injuries. Now, 2024 was definitely impacted by injuries, and that's probably why the Dolphins ultimately moved on from him. A lot of you a season ago wanted the Lions to try to go after this kid. Now he's on the free agency market. Do you think he's a player of interest? I get there will be a lot of other people. We've talked about Khalil Mack coming on over. Would Fuller be a fit here in Detroit? That is the burning question, but I think he's a good enough player when healthy that he would kind of fit the mantra of what the Lions like to go after. Now, remember what we always say, Dollar General Brad likes to go shopping at the injury market. Well, Kendall Fuller in recent years have been nothing but injury. Would he be an ideal fit for the Detroit Lions and Brad Holmes because of it? You could probably get him on the cheap, save some money, and we all get it. Carlton Davis III is going to get paid a lot of money. Either it's from the 49ers, the Jaguars, the Giants, or whoever else you want to throw on that list. He's going to get a bag of money, and you're going to need some replacements. If nothing else, just for depth reasons for the Detroit Lions. Should they go for him? Let me know in the comments section. Hey, Kendall Fuller, why? Kendall Fuller, no, or just put Fuller, yes or no, whatever you want to put over in the comments section. All right, next, the 5 glorious headlines now coming at you. Hold on a second. Let me fix this. All right, there we go. Do the Lions have a sneaky alternative plan with Hendon Hooker? Question mark. Sideline report by Brad Berryman with this one. Brad Berryman brings up some great, outstanding points in this article. If you have time today, you may want to check it out. He does a real good Scooby-Doo deep dive on it. And you know what? He might be more right than the rest of us originally knew about. So what am I talking about? He uses a comparison from when Sean Payton left the Dallas Cowboys to go over to the New Orleans Saints back in whatever it was, 2005 or 6, somewhere in that range. He tried to make a trade for Tony Romo. Tony Romo at that point was basically unknown. Nobody knew he was. He was a backup on the Cowboys. Nobody had a clue that Tony Romo would actually be a real good starting NFL quarterback. But you think about the New York Jets. You think about the fact that not only their head coach, but their OC are both from the Lions. Could it be that they actually pull the trigger and try to make a big trade for Hendon Hooker? It would probably be a big statement what their thoughts on Hendon Hooker is and that he could potentially be the future quarterback for him. I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but this story, I think he does a really good job with this, and Brad should get some credit for analyzing all the similarities between the Cowboys situation of whatever it is, 15, 18 years ago, and then the Detroit Lions situation now. Maybe it's closer to 20 years. But anyways, here's one of the things he points out. Hendon Hooker, you look at all of his strengths, and you look at all of his upside, and the fact he's already been developed in the NFL for a couple years in an offensive system that the Jets are going to be running, how much will that help aid in his development and maturity if he gets the opportunity to be a starting quarterback? Yes, he does point out the kind of damning statement about Bridgewater being brought in to be the backup quarterback during the playoffs, but he thinks that's not an indication of what the Lions nor potentially the Jets feel about Hendon Hooker. Just feels like the Lions, according to him in the story, basically went with a veteran quarterback versus a rookie quarterback, which, we all get Hendon Hooker isn't, but he kind of is in some ways just because he hasn't had a lot of experience in the NFL level. What do you guys think? Do you think the Jets really do make a move? And if they do make a move, do you think the Lions are dumb to get rid of Hendon Hooker? I don't know. I'm torn both ways because I can see the upside and the downside in both situations. All right, 8 cornerbacks Lions should watch at NFL Scouting Combine. And yes, there are a few different options coming on up in the Scouting Combine. I think we all get it. Lions are probably going to need more help at the cornerback position. Should they go after a couple of cornerbacks in the draft? I wouldn't be mad, and probably most of you wouldn't be either, but let's go through some of the options in this particular story. This is by Christian Boer, by the way. So anyways, and this is from Detroit Lions on SI.com. Trey Amos, he's from Ole Miss. Amos' play style is an ideal fit for the Detroit Lions. I think most of you, if you've seen this guy play, you'd say, yeah, he's the prototypical Lions cornerback. Press man-to-man coverage, aggressive, assertive, long in the arms, so it's a little bit easier for him to bust up some plays. He probably needs a little bit more work in zone, but are the Lions going to play a bunch of zone? Well, you have to see what the Kelvin Shepard's going to do with that one. He's not afraid to step up in run defense either, which I really like, and that's one thing we can both say. Amik Robinson, Carlton Davis III, and to be fair, Terrion Arnold did a pretty good job with last year. They helped set those edges. Jaden Barton from Texas. Barton is a do-it-all type defender. He can play defensive back at one spot in the level. He can play safety. He can play kind of weak side backer in certain situations. So he's almost like an Iffy Melifonwu in that regard. Is he somebody the Lions will bring in? Maybe, maybe not, but he's probably from just a physicality standpoint, he is an ideal fit for the way the Lions, at least in the past few years, under Aaron Glenn have played. He would fit that kind of mantra and system. Maxwell Harrison from Kentucky. Harrison is one of multiple Michigan natives at the position who will be competing in Indianapolis. Hailing from West Bloomfield, he is coming off a season limited by some injuries, though, so keep that in mind. Sounds like a future Lion already, right? However, in 23, he was one of the game's breakout stars with 5 interceptions. So if you go and watch the tape on him, he does have, obviously, with the 5 interceptions, he has some ball hawking skills. He can locate in the air. He is someone that can play man-to-man. I would say out of this, Trey Amos is probably the best of all these guys at playing man-to-man, but he can definitely play it. He maybe just not at Amos's level. All right, Harrison is a twitched up playmaker. He is somebody that can locate the ball, get after it, and do a lot of things. He just, unfortunately, as we just talked about, last year played with a lot of different injuries. Travis Hunter out of Colorado. If you guys have watched this guy before, he might not be he may not land anywhere near the Lions in the first round, but he's still worth keeping an eye on. As a Heisman Trophy winner who excelled at both receiver and cornerback, Hunter is simply a special athlete who could light it up in Indianapolis. So we get the we bring up Travis Hunter, and I don't think the Lions are going to have an opportunity to get him. But if they were able to get him, think about this. The Lions want guys that can play multiple different positions. In him, I would question you have both a punt returner, a kick returner, a number 3 or 4 receiver who can be a number maybe 2 or 3 cornerback at some point. So we'll have to see if that's where they look to go. But again, I don't think he's going to be available to the Lions that late. Will Johnson, I get 99.9% of you guys know exactly who he is. And yes, he is an impact player. I personally don't think he's going to be around quite late enough in the first round for us to go get him. I would say, me, myself, and I, if I was scouting, I haven't done a ton of work on him, I would say he's probably more likely to be a mid-first rounder. Maybe he could slip towards the end of the first round, maybe even early second round, if the right things all lined up. But we'll have to see. He is a playmaker. He's got speed. He's got explosiveness. He's got range, so he can locate the ball and go get it. He's got a ton of upside, and he does have he's one of the few athletes I think most of us can watch and say he's a leader on the field. Not just on the sidelines, not on the field, but in the locker room and through all aspects of things. Those are the type of people I think Dan Campbell and company try to acquire more and more of because they know what they bring beyond just the playing. Will Johnson is a player, but he's also a player that impacts every aspect of the team. I'm going to kill this last name, by the way, even though I shouldn't. He's from Kalamazoo. The Kyle Cohn from Western Michigan. He began his career at Iowa Community College, and for those who didn't know, became a junior college All-American before heading to Indiana State, where he ended his career at Western Michigan. He logged 112 tackles and 2 interceptions in 2 seasons with the Broncos. What I like about him is I think he is the ideal replacement for Iffy Melifonwu. Why do I say that? Speed, range and motion, 6'2", and yes, he can play multiple positions. Slot corner, free safety, strong safety, weak side linebacker, all of them in the right situations. He can acquire and do all that. My guess is you're probably getting him more of a day 2, maybe a day 3 pick, but he would be a player of interest. All right, I'm going to kind of power through the last couple just because I feel like I'm spending forever on this. Darren Porter, Iowa State. Again, an Iffy Melifonwu type of replacement. What you might not know about him is he's 6'4", and he's got some wheels. He's got a big frame. He would be an ideal factor for the Detroit Lions if they do keep, we'll just say, 70% of what Aaron Glenn liked to do here in Detroit, because you can hide him all over the place. I shouldn't say hide, but you can use him all over the place. Again, I think he's not going to be a first or second round pick, in my opinion, but I do think he could be an intriguing, maybe late second round pick, third, fourth round pick, etc. But he would cause some matchup problems for opposing offenses because of his speed, because of his lateral quickness too, and the fact he is 6'4". Okaya Thomas from Florida State, also a 6'2" guy. Kind of like everybody else I just mentioned in recent picks, he would be a Ife Melifonwu replacement. All right, moving on to the next of the 5 glorious headlines. I felt like I went on with that one for far too long. NFL analyst agrees the Lions Super Bowl window is very much open. Sideline report, Brad Berryman back with this one. And yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but I do think all the talk, it seems like that's come out in the recent week or so about the Lions, man, they've kind of missed their window. I don't think so. I think if you really analyze the Detroit Lions, you're going to say this. They're probably windows the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, it's not like they couldn't have made the Super Bowl, obviously 2 years ago or this past season. Things happened, didn't work out. But you look at the bulk of this team and how well we develop players, drafting and then, acquiring talent that needs a little bit more polishing. I think the Lions in the next 2 to 3 years, that's their real window. You get past that, who knows? You're going to have to see how players continue trending, how they keep drafting, etc. But I think these next 2 years, maybe 3 years, the Lions will be in the Super Bowl. Which year will it happen? I don't know. I'm going to personally say, just from my own top of the noggin, I'm going to say it's going to be this upcoming year. I just think they're so talented, what we saw out there last year. And you look at someone like Aidan Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, those guys are going to keep developing. They're going to keep getting better. You look at Christian Mahogany, going to keep getting better. Panay Sewell, going to keep getting better. I mean, you can go through so many of these younger players, and you're going to say they're going to keep projecting and trending which way? Up, and away. Now, you add some good draft picks with them. Rakestraw develops. Arnold develops. Maybe Broderick Martin develops. I don't know. You throw those guys out there with them, along with whoever we acquire this offseason. This might be the most talented Lions team in NFL history, or at least for my lifetime. How about that? All right, and then the last of the 5 glorious headlines now. Why Manacle Grinder John Morton is perfect fit as the new Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. Story by Dave Burkett of the Detroit Free Press. And yes, I'm trying to get the show moving a little bit more. But John Morton was sitting at his kitchen table in his family's Rochester Hills home, flush with determination. He wanted this job. He went all in on this job. He did everything he could to get this job. Now, we all get it. He was here a couple of years ago. You could give him some credit for the renaissance of Jared Goff's career, the change in the Detroit Lions offense. All that can be true. What we can say is MCDC, it would appear to most observers when this season came to a close, he wanted to make a couple, knowing that Ben Johnson was going to be leaving, he wanted to make some kind of, philosophical changes to the offense. He wants to be a lot more assertive in that run game and not use as many trick plays. We all get that. Morton, it does seem like, is going to bring a grind mentality to the ground game and the offensive line to this team. I don't really think there's going to be a whole lot of changes to the passing attack, but Morton is known throughout all the different stops he's been at as being somebody who's attention to detail and wants to be more physical than the other team. You look at what the Lions are kind of constructing on the offensive line in these past few years and what they may do this year, I think that's going to continue the trend. The Lions are going to own the ground, set up the pass, and that pass is going to be deadly. I also have talked a lot of times on the show, I would really like to see the Lions with Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, St. Brown, all those other guys try to use almost an old school 1970s, early 80s Raiders style offense. And that does sound like what John Morton is heading towards. So we could see a lot more kill shots down the sidelines to a speedy Jameson Williams or Tim Patrick or whoever else is going to be out there, which puts more pressure on opposing defenses. What am I talking about? Watch your sidelines next year with the Lions offense. If you see 2 guys going down the opposite sidelines quite often, that also means the opposing defense is probably got to commit 2 to 4 guys to stop them. Well, if 2 guys, if you're going to leave everybody one-on-one, 4 guys, if you're giving them, some kind of safety over the top help. What that does for everything up front then, if this does play out like it is being suggested by Dave Burkett, with the Lions being a lot more committed to the ground game up front, the deep game over the top, is that means now you have 7 guys to defend that line of scrimmage. If that shakes out, you know what? You got a lot of one-on-one situations for your tight ends, your slot receiver, and any running backs coming out of the backfield. That's going to put a lot more pressure on that front 7 to have to deal with play action pass and be able to help out with any passing routes. All right, guys, enough of that. Let's get over to, sorry, that segment went a little bit longer, but try to break some things down for you. Let's go ahead and get over to the main topic of the day. All right. I know the arrows are out. I know the people are polishing up their stones to throw up my windows. Hey, I just want to be clear. I didn't write this story. I didn't come up with the story, but I am reporting the story. So, Lions told not to extend Aidan Hutchinson, Jameson Williams contracts. This is from Ann Erickson, amongst others that had it out yesterday. Anna Erickson, most of you guys know, she's covered the Lions for, we'll say, 10, 15 years, something like that at least. It's been a hot minute. And yes, she brings up a lot of points. Now, this is coming to her through NFL offseason rumors, speculations, etc. We're going to start this off by saying, before we get into the Aidan Hutchinson and Aidan Hutchinson and Jameson Williams aspect, she does say the Lions are under the gun and already working on trying to extend Kirby Joseph. Why is that, you say? Why do the Lions feel like they're so under the gun? Because in her opinion, the Lions need to beat the clock. Most of us know that over in Baltimore, Kyle Hamilton was drafted, and he's going to be entering his fifth year. He's going to get a big payday. He's about to probably become the highest paid safety in the NFL. It's in her opinion, before we get into Hutchinson and Jameson Williams, the Lions need to get Kirby Joseph re-signed ASAP, because obviously when Hamilton signs, that's going to push everybody else's contracts up, and away. You look at the past two off seasons, that's exactly what Brad Holmes has tried to do, beat the clock, try to not, get later to that party versus anybody else. And I do think they're going to go ahead and do just that. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't re-sign Kirby, and probably sooner versus later. Now, getting into Aidan Hutchinson, she thinks the team, according to different NFL executives, needs to go ahead and delay, or I guess you could say NFL executives think they need to go ahead and delay re-signing Aidan Hutchinson because of the leg injury. Different NFL executives that apparently she spoke to on penning this story both say the same thing. Hutchinson should be 100% okay, but you don't know that. You're probably going to have to give Aidan Hutchinson somewhere in the neighborhood of a 4-year contract, and it's going to be a massive one. He's going to get 30, 35 million a year. You're going to want to make sure, according to these different NFL GMs or former NFL GMs, etc., before you give Hutchinson that bag, you want to make sure that week 6 injury to the broken left fibula is A-okay, and there's not going to be any issues with it. The other side of that, sort of like we're talking about with Kirby Joseph, is the longer you wait to re-sign Aidan Hutchinson, that's going to push his contract one way if he is okay and not has any kind of delayed injuries or recovery from the process. Now with Jameson Williams, this is where I thought the story turned interesting. Among most prized Lions off postseasons, among the most prized Lions possessions up for contract renewal are edge Aidan Hutchinson and Jameson Williams. Although they put running back Jameson Williams instead of wide receiver. Both had impressive seasons, but to talk about the fibula situation with Aidan Hutchinson, talk about personality trait issues with Aidan Hutchinson and the Jameson Williams personality issues. It's their opinion that the Lions are going to move on from Jameson Williams. I'm going to say this. I think that's BS. I don't think there's any way they move on from him unless something happens this offseason where, we all agree, hey, something ain't working here. Jameson Williams, I get NFL execs have their own opinions. I get everybody might have their own way of doing things. But when I read this story and I look at the story about Jameson Williams, I say to myself, this kid's had some mess ups for sure, but it hasn't been anything really egregious. I get the touchdown dance situation. Some people don't like it, but you know what? When I say there's a whole lot worse things somebody could do on that field than that. So you probably clean that up. Him getting busted for, what was it? ADHD medications or whatever, Adderall or whatever it is. You know what? I'm kind of torn on that because if a doctor gave him the prescription to get it, I'm not a doctor, at least not that kind of doctor. If somebody says he is medically in need of getting that, then who are we to judge? In regards to the gambling thing, from, was it his second year in the league? I think what we can all probably agree on with Jameson Williams with that one is that since the NFL changed the policy during that suspension, the NFL probably realized, you know what, this probably isn't the greatest policy to have, especially since we partner up with so many betting organizations nowadays. We need to say, hey, this is A-okay, which they did, and obviously he was unsuspended at that point. So I get some of their thoughts as far as the front offices saying, Aidan Hutchinson, We need to see how that leg heals before we give you some mega boom contract. With Jameson Williams, would you really move off of him because of the gambling situation that got cleaned up, the ADHD medication that apparently he had a prescription for and a medical need for, and then touchdown celebrations in the end zone? Hey, again, everybody learns at a different pace. Maturity is not universally a certain age. It's a destination for all of us. I just think this is all a bunch of nothing, in my opinion. But what say you guys? Do you think the Lions should wait on Aidan Hutchinson? Let me know in the comment section. Say Aidan Hutchinson, why or no? Yes, they should wait. No, they shouldn't wait. If I've talked to all the medical staff this offseason, they say, yeah, he's not going to have any problems, then I'm re-signing him now. Why? Because it saves the team money in the long run. If they look at me and go, man, I don't know, I've got questions, then I might wait. Use the fifth-year option, maybe even a franchise year tag or so if really needed. But my guess is probably by week 8 next year, we're going to know if he's healthy or not. But I would get him re-signed sooner versus later. And probably the same is true with Jameson Williams. Hey, we can all have our own opinions. I'm not telling you what to think on Jameson Williams. I just think I think he's a pretty good kid. I don't think he's a problem kid. I think he has some personality quirks or whatever that maybe don't align with the vast majority of the team, but I also think he is maturing. When you look back to how he was, or when he was drafted, some of his behaviors then versus now, you can see he's maturing and growing as an individual, not just a football player. He's clearly grown and developed as a football player. But I think, another year or two from now, he's no longer a 22, 23-year-old kid. He's probably 25. And yes, most people do mature, although, hey, maturity is not an age, it's a destination. That's one of the wisest words of wisdom Scott Mitchell ever said. Even though I didn't agree with Mitchell on a lot of things, he was probably right on that. So, all right, guys, I probably babbled on about all these topics too much. What do you guys have to say? Let's turn over to the Duke Crew comment section and see what you guys have to say. Let me scroll to the top of the screen, and I just want to be clear for all those knuckleheads going to come at me in the comment section. If it's me as the GM or head coach, neither one of these guys are leaving the Detroit Lions unless something new comes to light about either one of them. But it's a story. Let's see what you guys got. All right, JDC, morning all. Back at you. Big Daz, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Woo! And back at you, my friend. Big Daz, whoever said no extensions was crazy, I think so too, man. And again, Ann Erickson doesn't mention who the former front office people are, just that she talked to a few and they were advised. I do say this, though. I do agree with her 1,000% about re-signing Kirby Joseph sooner versus later because we all get it. Kyle Hampton is going to get a lot of money from Baltimore, and he's going to get paid, and that's going to push those safety contracts up and away. All righty, urged by who? Question mark, Broski Bear? Hey, I don't know. Maybe Broski Bear is a former NFL front office person, or maybe just a person of interest for Ann Erickson. Moonskar, good morning, Duke Crew starting lineup, exclamation point, back at you. The non-laughers, good morning, Dan, the Duke Crew, same to you, my friend. Moonskar, did you all just see that magic happen? Wasn't sure you could fix it. Good job, Dan. Hey, anytime, my friend. I'm glad to fix things when I can, and thanks for pointing it out to me. So those who don't know, the true story, I did win once upon a time worst reporter in media 2 years in a row, and I hold those titles dear to my heart, and that is because I may be the worst speller on planet Earth. Let's see, Jess, greetings, salutations. Why wouldn't we? Question mark. Were they worried about Hutchinson's leg? The story does kind of suggest that there are some at least raised eyebrows about it, red flags, whatever you want to say. I don't think there's going to be an issue with the leg. That's just my opinion. I don't have anything medically wise to back that up with. So we're going to have to wait and see. As far as Jameson Williams, like I said in the recap of the story, they have worries about his personality traits, but I just think that's kind of like, if you're really that chippy about some of those things, then most people you're going to draft are not going to work out well. All right, Clark, yo. I predict a 0.0% chance we don't give both players new deals, but I'll listen to what the logic offered is. Okay, there you go. Jim, looks like Newsome might go to the 49ers, and the Cowboys are looking to pick up Browns' Ed Rusher. I know, Garrett to Dallas has been suggested, but you think about, at least in my opinion, trying to play this out, Cowboys do not have a great, as far as I'm aware, do not have a great cap situation. And now Micah Parsons is probably going to get a huge bag of money. Can you really add someone like Myles Garrett to your roster when your roster seems to need a lot of talent. I don't think they're one player away. I think they're probably about 7 to 8 players away from really being relevant. But I've been wrong before. Maybe they make the move. Jim, who did you draw for the tournament? We'll find out. Was it Saturday? So we've got 2 weeks left in the regular season. We play 3 games this week. So 3 games, including today, in the next 5 days. And Friday's game will be, I mean, they're all big games, but that one will be a very big one. My anticipation is in our district, which is, for those who don't know, that's the first 3 games of the playoffs. My anticipation is we'll be the number 1 or 2 seed. You know, maybe there's a rare situation when you drop to number 3, but we'll have a first round bye for the first game of the playoffs. This is my guess, at least. France, Jim Bower, seems like there will be a lot of players shuffling around the league in the next few months. Yeah, 100% free agency is going to be here, and you're going to see players cut. Hope Holmes can find us a few deals. I think he can. That seems to be what he does. He'll find some lesser value guys that come in and fill out depth is my guess. Maybe somebody who starts. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Anyone see Fuller was released? I did see that. Question mark. Should we sign him? He has to be better than Vildor. Man, Vildor gets nothing but there are not a lot of Vildor fans here in Detroit. I actually like Vildor, I actually like Kendall Fuller. I think Bolton would be fine additions to the team if they want to keep Vildor and Kendall Fuller. Moonscar Blade, Jim Board, 5 games remain until on the B-ball season. My guess is that seeding isn't determined yet. Yeah, come Saturday at noon or whatever, we'll have that all cleared up, who we're going to face in another week or so. All right, Big Eddie, greetings and salutations. I call BS on whoever thinks we aren't going to give Jameson Hutch a new deal. Aidan would have to be a shell of his former self not to be resigned. And why would he not keep Williams? You know, I couldn't agree with you more. Aidan Hutchinson is he is your prototypical for what the Lions like to run. I mean, he's your Bruce Smith comparison. And I know if you guys remember when draft day happened and we did the show, I said he reminds me so much of Bruce Smith, maybe Robert Porsche, kind of in that mold, just because you watch his shoulders, you look at his leg length, his wingspan. Yeah, those are the 2 guys I probably thought he most compared with, and he's lived up to that hype. I mean, Bruce Smith, you guys, if you're old enough to remember him, he is rare that he could murder you in the pass and he could destroy you in the run defense. And that's kind of what Aidan does. Jim, I got an email about the boys tournament. Yeah, I want to say the boys tournament starts next week, if I'm not mistaken, in Michigan. Now, if you're in Indiana, Illinois, I think Ohio, they're already pretty deep into their postseason playoffs. James, don't extend Hutch. Totally ridiculous. He's the best defensive player the Lions have ever had. Yeah, he's definitely on that short list of best players up there. I mean, let's not forget, Lions have had some pretty good defenders over their tenure in the NFL. He's definitely on the short list of probably one of the better ones of all time. Hey, Morgan, good morning, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Exclamation point. What a team. What a podcast. Thanks for that. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! Go Lions. Back at you. And thanks for that, Henry. Trey Tippin, what is good, Duke Crew? Question mark. Man, Coach, you are playing with fire today. Hey, man, I saw the story. I read it, like I do when I'm always trying to get the 5 headlines ready. I was like, hey, this might be a main topic of the day type thing. I kind of was running last second with stuff just because I had to go get my daughter yesterday in Detroit, bring her home. And so I didn't have a lot of time to kind of prep stuff for the show. And I thought it was a good topic. Detroit D, greetings and salutations, everyone in the Duke Crew. Back at you, D. Hopefully you are doing well. Stephanie, Moonscar Blade, I think the playoffs in high school are 2 to 3. Yeah, 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out. Manbear, good morning. All bundled up and keep warm. Exclamation point. Have a wonderful day. Back at you, my friend. Stay warm, my friend. Hookadoo, good morning, Duke Crew. Who suggested not resigning Hutch or Ben Johnson, Benedict Johnson? He might have been the person to pen the story, or at least be the NFL insider to give that information. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Tori, Duke Crew, I have a real case of the Mondays going on. Hey, yeah, it happens to some of us. Hope everyone else does not. Laughing out loud. Hey, have a Mountain Dew, and I hope you get through your Monday. Miles Meyer, greetings, salutations, Coach and crew. Same to you, my friend. Hookadoo, morning, Miles Meyer, one pride. Susan, good morning. Why in the world would anybody feel we should not keep those 2? Question mark. Are they young star? They are young stars and generational players. I can't talk, but yes, they are. And you look at Jameson Williams. What's the chances you can replicate him with a first-round pick, let alone a second, a third, or fourth-round pick? I'm going to say about 0. I mean, you might find somebody similar to his speed, but you look at how much he's grown as a route runner, run blocker, a teammate. I mean, his teammates don't have any issues with him. It doesn't sound like the coaches have really any issues with him. Doesn't mean he's been perfect, but I think the chance of replicating him are pretty low. And I'm not even going to go there with Aidan Hutchinson. I just, was talking about how he reminds me of Bruce Smith and Robert Porcher and all these guys. Those guys are once in a lifetime type players. And the fact you have one of those guys, yeah, he's not going anywhere. Miles Marker, morning hookadoo. Let's see, Miles Marker, hey crew, Tom Grossi is live streaming for charity this morning for Children of Fallen Patriots. Hey, that's good of him, man. Real good of him. Please visit and donate if you can. Yeah, I will do just that. Thank you for pointing that out. Five Fingers Freddy, end of the day, who do we all feel will be resigned by our front office? I hope Levi Onwuzurike is, and he would fit kind of a position of need. Beyond him, I'm really hoping Kevin Zeitler. After that, I don't know. I think there's a good chance Iffy, CD, Carlton Davis, CD3, Derek Barnes are all out of here come next year. Voltron Force, good morning. Duke Crew, same to you. So small. Miles Margo, who is he? If you're talking about Grossi, he is a YouTuber. He does like NFL content, kind of does like comedy type stuff about it, but he does it well. And what up, everybody? And back at you. Hopefully a good day, Stephanie. So, yeah, he's a YouTuber, funny guy, covers the Packers and the NFL kind of. Okay. Miles Marker, Tom Grossi is a Packers fan, but does stuff for all fans. He was NFL Fan of the Year last year. Hey, there you go. Pat, tick, 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 count down to free agency. In my view, this is the most important offseason we've had since the 90s. You might be spot on with that, Pat. You look about the team, and the vast majority of this team, I want to say, is under 27. So pretty young, starting to hit their peaks, their physical peaks. You look at, I get Jared Goff is probably really entering his prime just now. He's clearly gotten better each year he's been here in Detroit. I think he's going to be even better next year just because how they're going to run things and the situations they're going to kind of put him into, or try to put him into, I should say. I think when you look at Gibbs kind of really starting to enter his groove, Montgomery is in his groove. St. Brown really should be starting to hit the peak of his perfection. Jameson Williams clearly developed the last 2 years. I mean, you can go through everybody on the offensive side and get it. The defense, if they get healthier and you add more talent to it, this might just be, and I know I said it earlier in the start of the show, I think this next season might just be the best Lions team any of us have seen since the 1950s. Mark Grossi started the funding raising last night, going for $1 million. Good for him, man. Already $150K, simplified. That's awesome, man. That's real awesome for him. Dave Bing, Grossi is kind of bland, but he can be funny. His thing gets old after a minute. All right. Trim Reaper, what up, coach and crew? Woo! I am back at you. Virgil Rose, what do you got? Resign Hutch, trade Williams. Okay, all right, I'll go with that. Frank Think, what up, East Side? Go Lions. Woo! Go Lions. All right, and back at you. Big Eddie, they are never trading J-Mo. No, I don't think he'll ever leave. Miles Mark, good morning. Frank the Tank, One Pride, worldwide, 100% correct. Trade Tippin, got to resign our own players first, then look to add others. That's probably what they will do. Paul, no, we must resign. I think they will, man. The 30 kid, good morning, Duke Crew, exclamation point. With so many injuries on the defensive players, should the strength and conditioning staff be called into question? I think a lot of the injuries, if we look back at them on the defense side, you could probably say half of them were from friendly fire. So just wrong place, wrong time, wrong hit type situations. But I do think you are right with that 302 kid, that they're going to probably review some of their practices or things that they can work on to improve upon and to help protect the players. Brian, Harding, good one. There you go. Trim Reaper, Stephanie Water, Envy, but Filter would be a huge upgrade. Yeah, could be indeed. Johnny, not extending those two makes no sense to me. Me too. And I think we all agree on that one. So I don't see any situation unless just something really over the top happened with one or both of those guys that they're not being extended. Big D, both of the best at their position in the NFL, resign, and let's go. I like it. I like it indeed. Mark, good morning, everyone. Roar, and roaring back at you. Michael, just don't see a sense of taking a 15-2 team and dismantling it as if they were a 2-15 team. Flipping nonsense. Yeah, I agree. But, hey, I do get maybe to a certain degree you want to see what Hutchinson's leg does. But, again, trust in the training staff. If you're going to have so much time from the time that injury happened, like he's done with rehab, it sounds like now. If you don't have a clue if that thing's healed up, if you have questions about it, then maybe you do wait a little bit to re-sign Aidan Hutchinson. Me, myself, and I I think you're probably re-signing him sooner versus later. At least I would. I've already talked about Kirby Joseph, even though he really wasn't a part of the main topic of the day. Jameson Williams, I just don't get it. I get some people are one way about him. They don't like some of his, off the field stuff. But again, when you analyze it, the NFL admits the rule that they suspended him for gambling was kind of nonsense, so they got rid of that. So I'm not even holding that against them. If the NFL says, yeah, this was stupid enough where we shouldn't have done it, then you know what? Hey, they admitted it was dumb. The ADHD medication, again, everybody can have your own opinion on it. Yes, he didn't file the paperwork or whatever correctly in regards to it, or that appears to be the story. But at the same time, if you're medically required or your doctor, your physician is saying you should take something, you take it. I mean, if you have a heart condition and you're taking heart medication, would the NFL be able to ban you for that? Or, some other condition? I don't know, maybe you have whatever it is. But I think you get my point. All right, Keith, though, Hutch is definitely re-signing and will retire a line. I think so, too. Philly, good morning. Back at you, Phil. Derek, I think they will wait to re-sign both. They might. They just might. Miles Martin, I know, right? Michael 11, that's crazy talk. Someone trying to hurt the Lions. Yeah, probably. Or it could just be off-season. Hey, I need to come up with a story. Burger Time. Yeah, okay, trade a 1,000-yard receiver that still hasn't reached his full potential. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't see him going anywhere. And again, you'd hear the teammates talk about him, Jameson Williams. I don't think I've heard any teammate on the record, off the record, or whatever, say anything bad about Jameson Williams. So I don't see him going anywhere. I don't see any situation where they're not re-signing both guys. Big D agreed, but anyone but Fielder. There you go. Derek, go out and get as many cornerbacks as they can. I'll even store a few in my garage if needed. Hey, very kind of you to offer that up. Trim Reaper, I think CD3 is gone for sure. Yeah, it's not like we don't want him. I just think he's going to get paid more than Brad is realistically going to be able to match. Facts in 60 seconds. Good morning. Let's save our picks and not give it up for Garrett. He's too expensive for years to come. Not worth 2 first-round picks. Okay. Burger Time, they should make re-signing CD3 a priority, then address the D-line. Yeah, I hope they do it. I know I've said this before on the show. I hope they have him, if they resign him, take over the Iffy Melifanu role. I just don't think Iffy is going to be back because of his injury history. And I think CD3 would give you your defense so much flexibility in that spot as a weak side backer on, third down and long, as a third safety, as the slot corner, because I thought Meek did a real good job at the outside. Bird Time. Good morning, brother Hookadoo. Big D. I say the Lions stopped the eye. Okay. Injury player hunt. Injuries killed us, Spirit. Yes, they did. Non-Laughers re-sign Hutch franchise JMO. Could be. Hookadoo. Bird Time. Morning. What are you doing on a Monday? Hey, maybe he's just yeah, it is true. He's just trying to take advantage of Lions Talk Live. The Trim Reaper Fuller. Oh yeah, maybe they go for him. Burger Time holiday, but yes, it is President's Day. Let's see, Mark. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones needs to go. Hasn't helped out with much. It seems like when the regular season is going on, or even the playoffs, Donovan Peoples-Jones is hanging out on the practice squad. Yeah, he really hasn't panned out for us, unfortunately. So I won't be surprised if they move on from him. You're hitting the origin. Yep. Moving on. Brian, are we trying to be the same old Lions? Because I'm truly sick of the GM, this organization, going after injured players. Have they not learned a gosh darn thing? What the heck? We'll have to see who they go after, but we all get it. Brad Holmes loves himself some guys on the injured recovery list. Hookadoo, nice. Bird Time. Yeah, just Hex, yeah. Just worked 30 hours, so it's nice break. Hey, enjoy your break and your vacation, my friend, on this day off. Just Trey Fitness. So if Hooker is still here past this season, what will that tell the fans? It would tell me, Trey, and you guys can have your own opinion, that maybe they are grooming him to be something in the future. You remember Jordan Love was on the bench for, I want to say 4 years, something like that. And it's not unheard of in NFL history to have somebody on the bench for 3 or 4 or 5 years before they take over. That's kind of really old school NFL football, but it has happened in the past. Could that be the plan? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Brian, let another organization have the injured players. I just don't get it. Let's pay some practice to practice or to be injured. Stupidity at its finest. It might be true. Bird Time. Agreed, Brian Hardy. All right, Brian. The Trey Hooker shouldn't be here. Let's keep a backup till he's 49. Come on, that could be. Yeah, he might be 49 before he gets his opportunity to start. Brian, thanks, Lions Fanatic. James, hey, Brian, do you remember what the Lions were like before Holmes? I do. I remember 2 and 4 year spans where the Lions didn't win more than 3 to 4 games in a year. We just finished a 15-win season. I'll go with that. Fanatic, yes, correct. And yep, I'm 45. Bird time. Good morning, Dan. Hope all is well. Thank you for all you do. I see what you did there. All year for us. Anytime, my friend. I enjoy it. Hopefully you guys do too. Robert, greetings, salutations, Dan and crew. Same to you. Brian, don't say I didn't say I didn't like Holmes. I'm sick of the injured players that play 3 games a year. Hey, it's good paychecks when you get them, my friend. Trey, Brian, you need to have that discussion with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. If they do keep Hooker, maybe it should dawn on y'all that they may value Hooker way more than the fans. I agree with you, because at least suggested reports last year were that part of the reason we didn't get Myles Garrett last year. Yes, the Browns wanted a bunch of first-round picks, but they also apparently wanted Hendon Hooker. And I get it. If I'm in their situation, you're clear moving on from Deshaun Watson. You need to save some cap space. His rookie contract would do just that. Plus, he's got some upside. So the fact that they didn't move on from him, apparently then, they might just believe in the kid. James, Brian, all you do is complain and stomp your feet like crybaby, not even recognizing how much better the Lions are now. Stop crying. Okay, James Brown, what? Philly, knock it off. Yeah, be kind to each other. Be kind to each other. JDC, oh boy, here we go. There you go. Thank you for that, JDC. Well, Mitch, Will Johnson really impact the IR? Maybe 5th round. Could be. Will Johnson, yeah, really, it could be. Brian, all I do is complain. All right, yep. Let's not argue with each other. Brian, he's 6'2" in a corner. Wow, and don't forget, one of them is 6'4". You can imagine him. I do think someone like him, because of his range, because of his motion, man, you could fly him all different spots in that setup, and just make it a little bit tougher, especially if you play zone every once in a while to throw over him. James, I'm realistic going to have the realistic expectation. The problem is you're okay. Yep. We're not arguing with each other. Keith, good morning and great salutations, Dan and the Duke crew. I'll go with that. James, Lions have the dumbest. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Trim Reaper, it's freezing in the UP. Think the kids will enjoy staying warm and cozy and skipping a day of school. Hey, hopefully they have a good time. Billy, I said knock it off. James, what part of the UP? I used to live in Minosee, okay? I've been to Detour Village and a couple other spots up there. That's about it, though. JDC, -4 here in South Yup. Trim Reaper, Marquette here in A, okay? You betcha, says Phil. James Brown, okay, yeah, we're moving on from that. JDC, Quincy here, A, all right. I got it, the Canadian thing. Motown Mitch, you did well. I knocked off the TV off its stand, the refrigerator over the lamp off the end table. What else you want knocked off? Getting hard to make these Philly fans happy. All right, there you go. Brian, team has been improving each year since Brad Holmes came in. It's easy to sit in your rocker and be critical since you really have no skin in the game. All right, Dennis, good morning. Dan and the Duke crew. Moonscar Blade, let's keep it civil. We have to put Duke crew members in a timeout, and we don't like doing that. Yeah, be kind to each other. And JDC, Puff, woo, coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Motown Mitch, I want a timeout. I'll give mine to MCDC. Hey, give a timeout to MCDC. Ken, good morning, Duke crew. Woo! And same to you. James, you cannot be serious. There's nothing being said that demands a childish timeout. Okay? Philly, talk to Dan. Didn't fight in the chat. It'll come out. I'll time you all out. Stay with the format. Okay? JDC. Man, I can't talk sporty. Sorry, guys. Woo! Back at you, Trey. If they go that route as an offense, they need to have another speedy receiver to go up the sideline. I'm with you, Trey. And that's why I know a couple, was it last week we were talking about where DK Metcalf could get traded? I'd be all for it because you think about Jameson Williams on one side and then whatever DK Metcalf is, 6'4" and, a gajillion, foot vertical jump plus his speed. Think about those two burning on the outside, Laporta, St. Brown working underneath. That would be a massive problem for most opposing defenses. Because I do think in that scenario, you would consistently have to commit 4 guys to deep shots or deeper routes, and that would free up. I mean, you would have so many one-on-one underneath situations. You blitzed, you would get shredded, I think. James, all right, yep, not doing that. Let's see, Motown. You don't have a man in your family if you don't give us a timeout. Okay, Philly. If you want to come in here and fight with people, go elsewhere. I'll go with that. JDC, Dre Force rocks. Any rolls? Kim, we're reading the headline, always wondering who is urging. Probably someone that doesn't have full knowledge. Yeah, could be a lot of truth to that. Motown, if you're going to be, you're going to disappoint MCDC if not want all of his timeouts. Yeah, give him all the timeouts. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Looks like I missed the thread. Woo! Hey, you can catch on up, my friend. No worries at all. Trim Reaper, drop that like button. Yeah, if you guys can, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Motown, what, I'm assuming what up, Bo Booth? Hey, we'll find out. Moonscar, Bo Booth, welcome, my friend, 100%. Dr. Detroit, yeah, we might need to be patient and sign Garrett first. Okay, Bo, I'm digging out of the snow. Hey, enjoy digging out. Ken, 100%. Philly, James, if you're going to do that, yep. All right. Ken, waving. JDC, smiling. Erie, yes. Plan B. There you go. Bo, Coach, I like the references of the old school Raiders. I used to love their offensive format, and I get it's kind of, by today's standards, it's a little bit dated, but it doesn't mean it's still not effective. You do cause math problems for the opposing D. The opposing D can leave people in one-on-one coverage, and maybe you got the corners to pull it off. But how many defenses in the NFL nowadays really have those corners? You think about how effective that was in the 70s and 80s and how much the rules have changed to aid the offenses nowadays. I think it would be a real good, at least, consideration. Gito, yeah, that's crazy. He was prescribed the Adderall and gave him a suspension. Yeah, and I think probably NFL understands that's a slippery slope there because you could open yourself up for a whole lot of lawsuits. If you took away somebody's prescription and they had some sort of adverse reaction or effect or whatever, and now you legally became liable because you took away something that doctor said they had to have. I think, if I remember right, Keitho, some of the situation was that the paperwork for the prescriptions weren't turned into the NFL Players Association correctly. Once they got that figured out, there were no more issues. Term Ray, flipping love, Waymo, JMO. Yeah, me too. 810 Ray. If we let JMO go, watch Philly rock him up. Yeah, I think there'd be a whole lot of teams trying to get him. I just don't see it where he would be not a Detroit Lion. Let's see, Joe C. Good morning, Coach Dan of the Duke Crew. Exclamation points. Let's freaking go to the next season already. Go Lions, 100%, man. I wish we already were there. Kurt Steele, what up, Duke Crew? Just checking in. Good to see you, man. And Steele as always. Dr. Detroit, morning, Kurt. Trevor, we resign them before the market increases. I think that's what all of us would recommend them doing. Gito, 810 Ray, or the Bears or Commanders, someone with a rookie quarterback. Yeah, I can see a whole lot of teams trying to get either one of them. Bo, Wall of Steel, there you go. Dwayne, it's Bull Jive with JMO. I got to improvise sometimes. He's not doing anything like the kid in Pittsburgh, but everybody wants to police him. I would say, Dwayne, there are some portion of the fan base that want to, but I think the vast majority are just okay with JMO being JMO. It's not like he's doing anything, at least in my opinion, egregiously over the top. And again, we've already beat up this topic a little bit, so I won't dive into it too much. All right, Lions Fanatic Bird time. Hutch is the heartbeat of the Lions. Signed him. Keep JMO? Yeah, I think they're going to keep both. Motown, Philly can't afford their own guys. They are definitely not going to afford JMO. No, somebody else would have to get him, I think. James, keep both Hutch and Williams. I think they will. Detroit, bad guy. Oh, yeah, jump in the end zone and totally maturing. JMO ain't matured. No, he's, hey, here's what I'd say. Different generations, different things. I can remember Elvis Presley. Everybody hated him just gyrating his hips. Would any of us even think twice about that nowadays? I can remember being a product of the 70s and 80s, people coming after you for, heavy metal music or rap music. Nobody blinks twice. You get that stuff in the Jewel, Osco aisles of the grocery store nowadays. Trim Reaper, that's funny, Coach. Maturity is the destination. Yeah, and the fact that came from Scott Mitchell, of all people. And even for those you don't know, I used to cover the Lions, full time and stuff like that. And Scott Mitchell, I was not a fan of. I was surprised actually doing YouTube for a while and doing a couple things with Herman Moore, saying he was the best quarterback he ever, played for in Detroit. I was like, really? Better than the man, Eric Kramer or Bob Gagliano or, a couple other guys. But he actually spoke pretty well about Scott Mitchell. And Mitchell, to be fair, while I didn't like him, I didn't think they should have never signed him. They should have went with Warren Moon, in my opinion. The Lions would have signed Warren Moon. I think we would have made it to the Super Bowl back in the 90s. But that's ancient history. But Scott Mitchell, during one of his moments where you're like, man, this guy's just going to self-implode. He's at the mic. He's answering somebody's question. He says, he kind of looks down. He says, maturity is not an age. It's a destination. I was like, man, did some real, words of wisdom come out of Scott Mitchell's mouth? It did. Bo, development is key, not just for JMO. Remember, there are very young men who get drafted. Yes, they are. They're kids in a lot of cases. Maybe early 20s, whatever. They're not quite adults yet. Some of them do mature faster, though. Ken, have to keep JMO, exclamation point, unless he does something really stupid. He is the threat every team he steps on the field. Hard to find players like that. 100%. Mark, Aidan Hutchinson will end up surprising a lot of people. Everybody's going to be shocked when he's healed up and twice as strong. Detroit Lions need to open up their camp. Go Lions roar. I think you are right, Mark. I think they're going to keep him. All right, I got to power through here because I've talked too long on other topics. We got about 4 minutes left. Brian, keep them both. Get Garrett or Crosby or Mac. Maybe they do. Thomas, bottom line, Howie Roseman doesn't play his cards safe, unlike Brad Holmes. That's why they unfortunately have won 2 Super Bowls. Okay, Keith. This is what the Lions need to do this coming year. Go to the Super Bowl. Woo! I'm down with that. Paperback fan, JMO hasn't kicked any puppies. We better keep him. I think they're going to keep him. Trey, let's see. Thomas, I agree wholeheartedly. Chances make champions. Yeah, sometimes you got to roll the dice. Motown, I want to challenge for you. Who's worst spiller on earth? I don't know. We'll find out. No, Tom Mitch laughing says Moonscar. Philly, good luck with your team, Dan. Thank you very much, man. It's going to be a tough game tonight and tomorrow and Friday. Let's see, Joe C. We have to keep both of them. Let's do it. Trim Reaper, what up, Superman? Kurt Steele, Thomas. I see Brad bringing back injury-prone Davenport first day of free agency on a 1-year prove-it deal because he's cheap. Maybe he does, man. Yeah, Trey, yes, sir, says Thomas. Brian, I'd like to see Hendon Hooker play somewhere. For selfish reasons, I would like to see him get an opportunity. But if the Lions feel like he's that strong a candidate to keep here, then by all means, keep the talent. Josie, Lord, I hope we don't bring back that more. We'll find out. Chuck E. Cheese, they are all 100% packed. Going to resign both. I think so too, man. Thomas, Josie, me neither, but that's what Brad Holmes does. Just winning division titles. Maybe. Trey, Brian, I would like to see Hooker play as well. I just think Brad and Dan have a plan for him too. That could be totally true. Cody, want to give a shout out to Whitehall High School Wrestling for having 6 wrestlers place in individual, regional, and fourth year in 5th to make state as a team. That's pretty dang impressive, man. That is very impressive. Good call there, Cody. Fingers crossed, Fred's Joseph. Keith, stop kicking Vilder so much. Why do we? Hey, I don't know, man. It just happens. Chuck E. Cheese, if we can't pay your own first rounders, then what they doing don't make sense. Yeah, I think they're both doing well. Randy Parsons, greetings, Savage from Charlevoix County. What about Hooker? Question mark. Is he being traded or developed? There's speculation that the Jets might try to get him. I guess we'll have to wait and find out what happens. Pride, good morning, Duke Crew. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Lions offseason about to be the best yet. Bank on it. I think you're right. J-Rod, good morning. Coach Dan of Duke Crew, same to you. Just another Manic Monday. You are right. Ludell, I just need a A.J. Brown type receiver as well. Let's see what we can do. Thomas, we passed. Could have moved up 10 picks and got Dijon, but no, we drafted injury-prone Rakestraw. Trade pick for Manu, previous year Broderick, not to mention a few years ago that Pascal, correct? Dwayne, Jameson Williams might be at the top of the team in touchdown scores over the last 2 seasons of the playoff games. Yeah, I think you're right with that. Trim Reaper, it sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays hanging in there. Grab a woo-do. There you go. Trey, Ludell, or another speedy receiver that's at least 6'1", 6'4". I'd be down with that. Egon, Grossi, also a very successful stand-up. Hey, he does a pretty good job, it sounds like. Gary, now we know why the people who she talked to are former NFL personnel with ideas like that. That's a great point there, Gary. Great point. Thomas, Brad re-signed Decking Decker last season, then re-signed Glasgow, and he declined. He did. Lynn, it's pronounced Grassi. All right, thank you. JDC, I ain't scared. Go Lions. Joseph C. Hey, Philly, looks like someone was running their mouth. Yeah, a little bit maybe. Trim Reaper, can't stand the Grossi bit, but I'm so a fan. Okay. Phil, yep, hate having to do that. It happens, man. Benjamin, don't forget Johnson turned his back on U of M before the bowl game. He did. He made a business decision, I guess. Philly, Vildor is the 3rd or 4th. He does his job. Okay. Jason and Brooklyn, what do you got? Let's go play. Good morning, all. Yeah, I'm ready for the season to get here. One Pride Worldwide. Same to you. Keith, we will be challenging for the Super Bowl for the next 3 to 5 years with our age and talent. If Brad keeps making the right moves, ? Even longer, Super Bowl bound, and 14-3. I would take that next year big time. Chad Wright, I would sign both. They are Lions, no doubt. Thomas, the problem with our division is a gauntlet. The word is the Bears are willing to move up 3 number 1 picks to get Garrett and pair with Sweat. They might just do that. But, hey, at least they won't have those draft picks anymore. Chad, good morning. Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. Woo! Love the show, Dan. Hey, we love having you here, Chad. Thank you for that. And Mr. Ed, good morning. Dan and the Duke Crew. Can we just re-sign somebody? Let's hope they can. Thomas, I love the Lions hiring of the offensive staff and the Shaw and Morton and Choice, then moving Scotty to receivers. Yeah, I thought that was a good move, moving Scotty Montgomery to the receivers coach. All right, just a couple more, and then I got to go. Merritt, okay. Moonscar, March 10th is the legal tampering day. March 12th, first day able to sign free agents to other teams. Okay. Thomas, the problem is the Bills come due in 26 with all of our contracts. Yeah, but they can always rework some deals if need be. Dr. Troy, yep. There's those guys. Hey, we have a winning record. We're good enough and just want to be good. Okay. Trey, Dr. Troy, you got to love those fans. 100%. Mr. Ed, I'm looking forward to having Dan and Brad on the show. Did you invite them yet? I've reached out to the Lions PR department. I haven't heard anything yet. Although I did talk to Easy at Woodboard about potentially being on the heavyweight show Wednesday. I think he's trying to work out a time to get me on. It's the Anthony, hoping to have a 28 Donovan Jackson at 60, David Walker at 101. Then wouldn't that be something? Brian, let me ask y'all, you're happy not winning the Super Bowl? No, I think we all want to because of injured players we got after he can't stay healthy. Okay? Dr. Detroit, yeah, they are silly. Thomas, Brian, yes. Benjamin, no prescription for the gun in the car. This is true. I don't think he had I'm not 100% sure, but I think you're right, Benjamin. He did not have a license for it. I don't remember, though. Brian, James Brown came at me and saying, Mark, have a good day. I'll roar. See you later, Mark. Thomas, JMO is still young and very immature. Yeah, he's maturing. He's growing. Johnny Gas Sports, good morning and happy Monday, Duke Crew. Back at you. Independent Aquaman, hey, good to see you, man. It's been a minute. Maybe don't extend Hutchinson's contract, but JMO has increasingly showed that he is worth extending. His immaturity is decreasing. Woo! Go Lions. Back at you, and good call there. Trim Reaper, this show's off the rails this morning. Hey, sometimes it happens, my friend. Dreamer, what up, Johnny? Woo! Dr. Detroit, people are tired of all the niceties when fans do the same thing. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and trying to expect a different result. You're not wrong there. Thomas, I think the Lions would draft JMO's replacement in the draft. Unfortunately, move on. Could not be surprised if he ends up in Chicago. Yeah, would not be surprised. Yeah, I'll go with that. Mo, I think those execs and reporters just want the Lions to let go JMO so another team can go get him. You might not be wrong. Bo, happy trails, Duke Crew, back at you. JDC, happy trails, go Lions victory. Jason, play, I take JMO over Garrett. Okay. D13, I watch all year wondering where our play action pass game went and wondering why we went away from it. I think that really ended up hurting our offense. Yeah, I think that's also part of why John Morton was brought in. 8-10, what Philly receiver is better than Jameson? Honestly, talent-wise, Garrett, you could argue A.J. Brown, but other than that, no one. Okay, Chad, Bood Mitchell, who? Scott, throw at your ankles? Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Mark, MCDC could go to the Ford Field in April and see ACDC. There you go. Independent, Warren Moon fled the CFL in fear once the Winnipeg Blue Bombers finally figured out how to beat his Edmonton Eskimos dynasty. This might also be true. Trey, 8-10. Ray, Devontae Smith is better than JMO. I'll say Raphael Parks. I guarantee all of the move on from JMO crowd were the same people who voted for a personal found be responsibility for the assault of a woman and convicted felon. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay, I guess I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, Dan, I have a Scott Mitchell sweatshirt if you want. No, I'm good. Thank you so much, though. Moonscar, Brian, you're a good man. Looked like you just got your choice and respond with it. I was a very short timeout. He apparently couldn't let it go. Okay. Vernon, good morning, coach and crew. Keep both Jameson and Hutchinson. Sign Kirby Joseph ASAP. I like the way you're thinking. Moonscar Blade Lions Talk Live is one of the fastest growing channels. We don't miss him, and we don't give away to the subscribers. There you go. All right, guys, a couple more here, and then I'm out of here. I'm really into overtime here. Cruz, they should sign Hutch now. Look across the league and sign him now and get him cheaper now later with looming contracts with other players, and prices will go up. You're not wrong. Prices only go one way, up, up, and away. Hookadoo, Happy Trails, Duke Crew, One Pride, Roar Detroit. Thanks, Moonscar Blade, says Brian. Trey, have a great day. Everyone in the chat, stay safe and remain positive. I like the way you're thinking. Moonscar Blade, One Pride. Let's see, Brian, go Lions. A few Crew fans, have a great Monday. Be safe. Same to you, Duke Crew. Aaron, good morning, Coach and Duke Crew. So, and hopefully you're having a great morning there, Aaron. Trey, I'll definitely tune in if you do appear on the heavyweight show. Yeah, I'm waiting to hear from Easy what time on Wednesday, I guess. 8:10, stop it. Devontae has not been on the JMO. You're drunk texting this morning. All right, whatever it may be. All right, guys, if there is some breaking news later today, I'll get over to you as quick as possible. Other than that, take care. If you would, be so kind, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. You guys know it helps out a ton. Be a good human being. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. We'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to the Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus? Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism? Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology? Or nuclear power?